Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Greetings and salutations, true believers. Welcome for another episode of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, thank you very much for joining today's episode. And it's always a pleasure, and I always appreciate anyone who wants to listen to me rant on and not get bored. I salute my hat off to you, and I thank you for tuning in to episode 18, which I'm still shocked, and I can't wait until reach 3 digits. Gonna have a big party for that, and hopefully it'll be our lockdown by the time that happens. I promise I won't bring it up anymore. That's the last time I'll say lockdown or COVID or whatever. But yeah, thanks for joining this episode. Before we get into this, little tidbit today is I've got some great news, which I thought I had to share with you guys. Is Mark, obviously one of my good friends. I've mentioned a lot of times on this podcast. He's also come on for an episode. He's got between him and Dean, I've got like 3 episodes, drafts of episodes banked up of what I want them to come on and make, which I hope eventually when we get out of lockdown, we're able to do that, especially that DC episode that I really want to do and get out there for you guys to listen to. It's going to be so much fun. What he's done is that he's actually gone forth and he's made his own little video game and review page. Video games, TV shows, all the whole bundle. And he's called it, obviously, his name's Mark, so he's called it Mark My Words. He's currently on Facebook, he's currently on Instagram at the moment. Obviously, he's going to go to more platforms soon. But enough of me, let him tell you more and more about it.
Hey everyone, hope you're enjoying the latest episode of Lights, Camera, Rant. I just want to jump in here at the moment and shout out my own page of Mark My Words Official on Facebook and Instagram. Currently doing some game, TV shows, and movie reviews. The latest one is Squid Games from Netflix. An excellent South Korean TV show that has about 9 episodes. Oh my god, the thriller drama in this is something you're going to want to watch. If you want to read up on the review there, just go to Mark My Words Official on Facebook, give us a like, a follow, and hell, I'll talk to you guys soon. Back to the ranting.
Now, doesn't that sound exciting? Doesn't that, I'm so pumped for Mark for doing this. I'm really proud of him. He's got that same kind of passion as myself with Dean. This is what we love. Like video games, movies, TV shows, in this type of environment. It's where our passion lies, and we want to get that out. And it was because of Mark and Dean and Maddie, of course, most of all Maddie, that pushed me to do this podcast and get this outlet, talk about all these things I'd love and where my passion lies. So when Mark told me and Dean about this, we were all like 100% go for it, launch it, pull that trigger, and go for it. Which he has. Really proud of him. He's already posted a couple of video game reviews, and honestly, go check it out. He goes quite in detail, and yeah, it's really fantastic what he's going to do, and what more is more to come. And I can't wait to, as I said, get him on another episode, talk more about it. But yeah, please go check it out. Please support him. He's going to do well in it, and I have no doubt he's going to take it to the moon. But yeah, moving on. Yeah, so this episode, as I said, we're going to talk about What If. We're going to talk about Star Wars Visions. But in the latest news, I must say one of the most interesting things that have come out recently is that a double sue, if you will, so Marvel's creators' heirs, so like Stan Lee's estate, Steve Ditko's estate, is suing Marvel because they want more shares in the rights, obviously, to all the money they're making with all the movies. And then Disney's doing a counter sue back to them to be like, well, no, you did work for hire, you're entitled to the full amount, which could, if it doesn't go well, depending on how the case can go, Marvel might have to give the rights back to the creators or in some form of fashion. So, it could jeopardize the MCU. And you'll be very interested to see how this goes across and how, what play it's going to go. Look, I have no doubt, most of all, is they'll come to agreement. Here's a lump of sum of cash, carry on your way. And, the MCU won't be affected because obviously Disney, Marvel are a juggernaut. And they're going to find a way. Anything is possible because of the fact that we have seen the fact that both Disney, Marvel, and Sony are currently working in harmony at the moment with Spider-Man. So I have no doubt they'll be able to figure out this. But it's interesting one of those, it's interesting one of those things. The fact, like as I was mentioning the other week, how the Dune director taking a stab at Marvel, as well as Martin Scorsese also took a stab at Marvel, as well as the director of the latest Charlie's Angels movie. She kind of took a direct hit at Marvel. And it's one of those things that, when you're on top of the world, everyone wants a piece of you. Everyone wants to take a jab. Everyone wants a piece of pie. You're doing so well, screw you. When we're not doing so well. And it's one of those jealousy type of things, or, it's petty. Honestly, it's petty. The story of the MCU and Marvel is one of triumph and one of coming from absolute bottom and coming back up. Because, everyone takes a jab at Marvel's movies and blah, blah, blah. But you got to remember the fact that, Marvel, as I mentioned in my last episode, bonus episode for those about to save the world, please go check that out. I did a new song playlist for those about to save the world. Please let me know what you think. But yeah, if you're driving to work and you want to hear some bopping tunes, actually, yeah, there's a couple of bopping tunes and also hard hitters. Bit myself that I love Metallica and all that. How to include Metallica. But yeah, please go check that out. But as I was saying in that episode, is the fact that, Marvel nearly went bankrupt in the late 90s. Like, Marvel was nearly gone. 100%, Marvel nearly was going to go away and we would have never seen everything come forward. That's another reason why the fact that, Fox and Sony had the rights to, movie rights to these characters for so long is because Marvel had to sell them to make some money. Which is, but they obviously smart move. They kept, them, they kept Thor, Iron Man, all them. But, that's the reason why, Sony didn't cross over with the Avengers as early, and as well as why, it's taken so long for the X-Men. Yet again, with the X-Men, we're still probably looking at like 5 to 8 years before we actually see that dabble because of how you're going to introduce it. But they've worked their way up. They've come from they've come from the bottom, and now they're a major pillar in cinema. Yet people keep taking jabs at them. Or like there was one comment that was like with the director, her name completely escapes me. She directed the Charlie's Angels movie, and Kate. I want to say Kate, probably not Kate. But she mentioned in an interview that the fact that men don't want to go see women in action movies if they're not got a cape or something like that. And I'm like, that's a lot of bullshit. It's not about that. It's about the fact that you make a decent movie, people will go see it. But if you make a reboot and nobody goes to see it, it's because it's a reboot. Especially if the gap between the last one isn't very long. It's one of those things. Or, as a Dune director, I can't... It's been a week since I made last week's episode and I still can't say the effing name right. June. That's apparently still getting very well rave reviews. I just think the director's a dick. Because saying Marvel movies are very repetitive. Which I won't get full into that because I already did my little rant about that. But I fully understand the fact that if you've created a character, and you obviously you're seeing all people getting all this money for it, you want a piece of the pie. But my question is, why don't you want a piece of pie 20 years ago? Like, why is this lawsuit coming up now? Like, why didn't you make this lawsuit 10 years ago or 15 years ago that you wanted more of a piece of pie. You're only coming into it now because of the juggernaut that is Marvel. You know, I obviously don't know the ins and outs of how much they pay them. However, you know, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, we're not making a lot of money. Oh, I don't care. Oh, you know, we're making a lot of money now. All right, I helped in that. You should give me some compensation, which I think is bullshit. So I will keep my tabs on this lawsuit and keep you guys updated how it goes. But yeah, I just think it's just sad. Like, you know, I think, you know, Kevin Feige is one of those people. Every time you see an interview with him or he's talking about a latest project, he sounds like just like he's such a humble person and just a kid who just wants to make these awesome movies, and he just wants to have all, you know, make those special moments that you saw in the comic books. You know, when you saw, you know, the Human Torch speak to Spider-Man for the first time, or you saw, you know, Iron Man and Captain America crossover for the first time. You know, it was like, whoa, you know, this is major. And, you know, he just wants to make those moments. You know, I think if he could, he'd take all the politics out of it, you know, in anything, and, you know, all share it and just make the movies that he wants to. And I hope he does. You know, what the MCU is creating right now is fantastic. Everything that's yet to come. And yeah, I just really hope that the fact that they do come to agreement with those creators and be like, look, here's a lump sum, here's something like this, you know, we can give it to you and you'll be all happy and carry on your day, and we get to keep the characters. Because, like, I would feel terrible, 100%, I would feel terrible the fact that, you know, because I'm a greedy piece of shit and I want, you know, $1 million for all my character created, but at the same time, you know, I'm actually someone told me, like, here's your $1 million, but we can't use the character anymore, so your character will no longer be seen in movies, or, you know, well, in movies more so, you know, that's done. You know, so I go, oh, you know, well, you can still use them, but I just want to compensate, you know, it costs too much now, so we're not doing it. Like, I feel gutted. I'd be like, well, you know, like, I forgot, like, well, no, that's the whole point of these characters. They're meant to be seen. They're meant to be reinterpreted. They're meant to go back, you know, more comic books, more variations, anything like that, you know. That's how these characters stay alive. So it's very interesting, and it's going to see how it's going to come out. But yeah, I'll keep you guys up to date. So far, it's only been announced the fact that this lawsuit's going to happen. And obviously, with anything that's got law or suit, it's going to take a long time before there's inevitability, because we're still going, I'm pretty sure they're still going with the Black Widow lawsuit as well, which is another kettle of fish, which, you know, so, which I've already put my words out there when I think of Scarlett Johansson going, I want some more money, but I understand. But yeah, and also they also recently they dropped the first still photo of the Last of Us live action TV show. I'll post that on my Instagram, which I already have. I'll repost again. Obviously, reshare, and all the in between. You know, retweet. So yeah, they've posted that. It looks really good. Unfortunately, it's on the back. It's really just a field at the back of their head, so it's not actually a lot. It's just like, I think everyone's more crazy because it's like, oh my god, it's actually filming, but like, it doesn't actually show a shit. Another really interesting thing is the fact that Venom is only, they announced how long Venom's going to be. Venom 2 is only going to be going for 90 minutes. Quick, short, and fast. And the fact is that only is that quick, short, and fast is the fact that they've also announced the Internals is about to go for 2.5 hours long. So we're going to get like one of the shortest Marvel movies, and the flip side, a month later, we're going to get one of the longest Marvel movies. With the fact with the Internals, which I do believe, I think it's the third longest film. I think Endgame, Infinity War, and Internals, I think that's the order it goes in. So 2.5 hours for an origin movie is going to be very, like, I want to know, like how much, like what kind of story they're going to tell, like, over 2.5 hours. Because obviously, when you saw Infinity War and Endgame, you're like, you know, there's so many characters, there's so much going on. Of course, they're going to need 3 hours and 2.5 hours to make this. But an origin movie, like, you know, I wonder how depth of the universe they're going to go, or, you know, the creation, the past, everything, you know, how they fit perfectly snug in the MCU, which they're going to obviously convey. which obviously they're going to convey. But yeah, they announced that, so that's going to be very interesting for an origin movie, and compared to other movies. But I'm all down for it. More MCU, pump it, let's go. And the fact that after Eternals, it's Spider-Man. I can't contain my excitement for this. After Spider-Man, we get, after that, we're going to get Doctor Strange 2, which is just going to out of this water, just blow out of the water. I'm so stoked. I don't know how much I can convey my excitement through a mic, but I can't wait. But moving on, what if? Let's get into what if review. That's Party Thor. Look. All right, let me get into this. So, Party Thor, spelled Torrh, in an order that would surprise you in that. Look, first things first, majority of the voice characters came back. So, we've got Taika Waititi, Chris Evans, we got Kate Denning, we got Samuel L. Jackson, we got Maria Hill. They all, I know that's the character's name, not the voice characters. Cory Sanders, Kobe, Robin. There we go. If I say Robin, you all know what I mean. So majority of the voice cast came back, but not Brie Larson. She didn't come out. But this episode was, it was an interesting one. For me, in my top ranking of the What If series so far, it's not my number one. My number one's still Doctor Strange so far. Doctor Strange, Star-Lord with Chadwick Boseman. That's still my number 1 and 2. How the Avengers Die. Obviously, zombies as well, which is really cool, really dark. And the fact that, but the interesting thing is the fact that it's a good episode. I'll say it. It's a good episode. It's solid. But it's I would say it's still a downgrade from the episode last week with Killmonger. But obviously anything with Michael B. Jordan is Killmonger is a plus. There's never a minus. So the episode was very good. So this obviously we see the situation where Odin didn't take Loki back to raise him. He gave him back to the Frost Giants. So Thor grew up to be an only child. But there's no mention of Hela. Hela isn't mentioned in this episode at all. So roughly what timeline this takes place is about 2010, 2011. So with Thor 1. So we still get Jane Foster. She comes back. No Selvig, which I thought was interesting. Dr. Selvig isn't in this episode, but I thought, if it does particular, that's up to them. But yeah, so he sort of obviously becomes more of a party, more of a kid. Obviously, he hasn't tapped into his full potential of powers because he doesn't go through Thor 3. So he's still obviously using Mjolnir for everything. And, the fact that he likes partying all across the globe, and every time he goes to a planet and party, they usually explode and die. So, that whole concept goes into it. And then we do get Thor vs. Captain Marvel, which was some of the effects was pretty cool, especially in the storm when the lightning, yellow and blue, obviously for both of them. So they go ahead and fight. But look, don't get me wrong. I think some of the hate that Brie Larson gets for Captain Marvel is a bit excessive. It's a bit much. I liked Captain Marvel. I didn't dislike it. However, it's not, of the 20 plus MCU movies, it is not the first one I go back to at all. Probably I will go back to Infinity War. I'll go back to Endgame. I'll go back to Doctor Strange. I'll go back to Iron Man 1. I'll go back to, obviously, Avengers. Guardians of the Galaxy, those are probably the ones I go back to straight away. But look, the funny thing is, probably the main thing I took away from this episode is that her character was a Captain Marvel in this episode. I feel we got 110% or more emotion and more like character from her in 15 minutes than we did in an entire hour hour and a bit of Captain Marvel. She just seemed a bit more lighthearted. She was smiling more, nod. She just showed a little bit more emotion. I thought that was really good because I was like, well, that should be injected more in the movie. Not saying she did it bad, just saying she felt not hollow, not stiff, but like there was, it just seemed like it was just missing something with it. But obviously, we didn't get a whole over in Endgame, but she will be coming. She's going to be one of the major pillars. She actually posted on her Instagram the other day, and she's fucking ripped as shit for Captain Marvels, or Captain Marvels. She's ripped as shit. And like, oh my god, like what is going to happen in this movie? So I thought her characterization was really good. Samuel L. Jackson was only in it for a little bit before he got smacked by Korg. But there's a lot of cameos. It's a lot of cameos. There's the Skrulls, there's a Sovereign, I'm pretty sure there's Taika Waititi's in there. The Guardians in there. There's a lot of cameos in this. But I thought overall it was a good episode. But it didn't blow me away. It wasn't a what if question I had in my head. Like what if he was a lonely child? It was more like, what if, what happens if Loki didn't go back? Like that was probably more of a question than what if Thor was a lonely child. Sad thing is Loki's in this. Tom Hiddleston, he's a frost giant, and him and Thor are great buddies. So better bros than actual bros. And the fact is, Loki sounds so happy. He doesn't have all the drama that Odin's son's family has brought him. So technically, that was a bonus for him not being Odin's son or Thor's brother. Which is kind of sad when you look over everything, especially how you've seen how everything has gone with his life. But yeah, it was good to see what happened to Loki in case of that contrast. However, it wasn't a great overall episode. Did like Chris Hemsworth as Thor. Obviously, he's nailed it. He did the role perfectly. But in this one, I say I don't know, like, did they want to do a happy-go-lucky episode before the final? Because there's 9 episodes. This was episode 7. We've got 2 more left. And right at the end, it seemed to be like a good ending. And then Ultron came through a portal with his Ultron bots. And he's got all the Infinity Stones. And then the mask flips open and you got Vision in there. So is he going multiverse? So that means he actually won Avengers 2, got Vision's body. What kind of voice is he going to have? Because I don't think James Spader has been mentioned about coming back. So will he hear the voice of James Spader, or will he get another character come in? Will the Infinity Stones work in a different dimension? Because the Infinity Stones don't work in the TVA, but will they work if you're multiverse jumping? Like, I don't get that. Like, obviously it must because he came through a portal, but to what extent? Which means, as I said in my last episode, I think they're moving towards a multiverse Guardians, or, Guardians of the Multiverse, or the Avengers of the Multiverse, because we've got the mid-season trailer, and we see a whole bunch of them standing and talking to each other, so it's like, oh, right, I see where they're going, so it turned to a multiverse war. And what's curious to me is that, they're doing all this, and, the creators have said the fact that this is MCU canon. So, like, what's this actually prepping us for? Like, is this actually, or am I thinking too much of it? Is it just actually, just a little, fun little tidbit? Or is we're actually preparing you for this? Because the fact that this was deliberately launched after Loki. And obviously you saw what happened in the last episode of Loki. And as I'm recording this, if you haven't watched Loki yet, get the Freak Out Fight podcast and go listen to it, go watch it, because Loki is fantastic. But yeah, so like, what is this all leading to? But yeah, it was a good episode. However, I wasn't blown away. I was blown away by Ultron coming through the portal, but anything else, not really. Like Captain Marvel did all right, but it's. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like so far there's been a lot of better episodes so far than Party Thor, and I have seen that people go a little bit hate for it because people feel like this wasn't a what if question like anyone would ask, or the fact that it was too lighthearted. However, that's the MCU. It's PG. Get something dark, get an arm chopped off, decapitation, and you get a party. So, overall, I liked it, but it's not... probably the best way is that what I just said about the Avengers. If I was going to go back and watch this, so far with episode 7, it's not the first episode I go back to. First episode is Doctor Strange, Killmonger, and Zombies, and Avengers. That's why the very first episodes I'd go back straight away. Oh, especially anything with Chadwick Boseman. R.I.P. So overall that was the episode. So what they're going to be leading to is we've got 2 episodes left. Obviously they've announced the fact next episode will be Ultron, obviously. So how is this going to play is going to be very interesting. So is the Watcher going to have to bring in a team? Be like, there was an idea because I did nothing and just watched all of your universes F up the fact that I have to bring a team together to do this. We're going to fight Ultron. But it's interesting. See, that's the thing. That's a question. That's a question that you would ask. Like, what if Ultron got Vision's body? What if Ultron got the Infinity Stones? And nearly every time an MCU movie comes out, there's always a thing saying, is Ultron going to return? Is Ultron going to return? There's a part of me that does want him to return in some form. Like, I want him to be a baddie. However, you got a whole movie of him, so you don't need to continue. But, the funny thing is, when you do look at MCU overall, even though Ultron hasn't returned, his Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, is like one of the pinnacle divergent movies in the MCU. Everything, everything happens after that, basically. Everything gets twisted. Everything gets twisted. Everything leads off, the Infinity Stones, Civil War, Vision, Wanda, everything pretty much stems from that movie. That movie only went for about 2 hours or less, but the ramifications from that movie we are still seeing today. It's more a pivotal movie than the first Avengers movie. Obviously saying. And then obviously with going on from that, with Avengers Endgame, we're still going to be feeling the effects of that as well, which we'll find in Eternals, why they didn't want to save the world with Thanos, because obviously they're told, oh no, don't interfere. Oh, the population is freaking missing, and you're like, no, we can't help. But obviously they have to find a cheap answer. But look, still go check it out, still go watch it. Like 100% I still go for it, because I want to see where this is going. There's 2 episodes left, 30 minutes each. Where is this going to go? 100% I'm ready for it. But please let me know what your thoughts are. Did you like Party Thor? Did you like it? Have you been watching it so far? What do you think? Where's it going to lead to? Are you enjoying the What If series at all? Because I've seen a lot of people go like, this is just shit, this is bullshit, I just want, Hawkeye. Hawkeye's trailer dropped for Hawkeye's TV show, which gave me huge Die Hard vibes. I don't know if it's because of action movie at Christmas. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Got major Die Hard vibes. It's got so many likes. For a character that a lot of people hang shit on and go, oh, I don't give a shit about Hawkeye. But you got to remember, the only time the Avengers lost was when Hawkeye wasn't there. So put that up, you clacker. That's most like trailer, and I'm still going to watch it because it's Marvel. As well as that's meant to be, as well as, where's that going to go with like sequel to Black Widow? If you did see that as well at the end credit scene, so how that's going to play into it as well. So it's pumped for that, can't wait. But moving away from Marvel, moving away from that kettle of fish, if you will, and let's get on to Star Wars Visions. So Star Wars Visions was 9 episodes, from which are non-canon Don't know why the creator had to really say that. But anyway, it's non-canon, and the fact it's with different animators trying to take a stab at the Star Wars universe. And it's actually, I watched it. It was on my radar when I first watched the trailer for it. I was like, holy shit! Like, this looks sick. And this looks sick. And so obviously, the episode's only for about 15, 18 minutes long, so you can really smash it out in in a weekend, or even a day. Like, it doesn't actually really take long to watch all of them. So I cracked that open and started watching that. So it's non-canon. It's good. Nothing to do with the Skywalker family. This is just different random points. And I must say, like, it's some episodes a bit low, some episodes are really high, but it's not actually bad. Like, honestly, if you're a Star Wars fan, please go check it out. Overall, it's not bad. It's good. It's good to watch. Visually, some of the episodes, for me, the very first one is fan-effing-tastic. It is a gorgeous episode. Really weird says that, but no. But like how it's drawn that old Japanese style, like a big Ghost of Tsushima vibes, and it just looks really good. The lightsaber coming out, the fighting, like, it just looks great. And I could honestly watch a whole movie like that. With one eye up, one eye down, watching the subtitles, trying to read it. Yes, so all 9 episodes are obviously in Japanese. But yeah, the first episode is fantastic. So it hits the ball swinging straight out the gate. And majority of everyone who I've spoken to, Mark as well, is the first episode is fantastic. Which I kind of think they should have put that in the middle or laid down the track. But no, the first of it's great. It starts off very strong. From that, and obviously, multiple red lightsabers, but the fighting, the music, it's still, the fighting, the music, all still has the same vibe. So they still use all the music from the Star Wars movie, so they haven't fully gotten away. But a lot of these episodes are still about family. Obviously, the heartache of trying to be a Jedi, the Sith, but it's at different points in time. So there's no actual mention. Definitely, the only character that actually gets mentioned is the Emperor, but you don't see him. But anything else, it's just either Jedi, Sith. There's no Luke, Anakin, Darth. Nothing like that. Which it was refreshing, as you see, like the Mandalorian. It's nothing about the Skywalker family until the last episode of season 2. But let me get into that first. But overall, so different animation styles. Out of all 9, my favorite was the first one, obviously. And I did like episode 8 as well. Episode 1, episode 8 was probably about my favorites. However, I did like the second one. The second one was about, a band. You had Boba Fett. Oh, sorry, you do get Boba Fett and you do get Jabba the Hutt. But what I meant before was you don't see any of the Skywalker family at all in this. But other characters like Boba Fett, and they all pop into it. So I did like that episode. Music was good. Didn't sell me. Didn't sell me on that. And the episode 3 with the twins was really cool when they were fighting with the lightsaber duels. Like, lightsaber duels in these 9 episodes are really good. So that's where they've put a lot of detail in. So you do get the feel of what they were trying to create, which was you could feel when you're watching it. And it's like the animation style is just, some of it's just fantastic. I 100% print money. I want more of this. There was also episode 8. One of the characters had like a scouter to like review different, what's going on, survey the area. Got massive Dragon Ball Z vibes, and I thought, yeah, I'm just waiting for it to turn around, look at a Jedi and Sith and be like, his power level's over 9,000. Pulls that lightsaber. That'd be really cool. I'd be all up for Vegeta and Goku being Jedi, or Jedi and Sith. But overall, I think episode 6 was very sad. With a professor, there's a professor that dies in it, trying to protect his family of droids. But I think the most one, obviously, family and everything. What I liked about episode 6, even though it was sad, is that, they do a concept in there because a droid wants to be a Jedi. And, he does get his kyber crystal, he does get the lightsaber, he does fight an Inquisitor. And I thought that was a really good concept because the fact that, it teaches that, if you have the will, the passion, determination, and you've got the connection with the Force, anyone can be a Jedi. It doesn't, human, alien, droid, as long as you've got that, if you will, heart, you can be a Jedi. And which he shows. He fully takes down the Inquisitor, does a really cool lightsaber battle, and does a heartwarming thing. But I think that was a really good message, the fact that anyone could be a Jedi. It doesn't matter who you are, you can still do it as long as you've got the passion and obviously a kyber crystal to make a lightsaber. Obviously, most of all. But overall, all 9 have the tidbits, have the low points. The last episode was interesting. I wasn't expecting what happened with the twist ending. Spoiler alert, Jedi turns to Sith. However, there's a particular scene where he brings someone back to life from the dead and has these forward visions. So out of all 9 episodes, episode 9 has the biggest, for me, it was the biggest Anakin vibes. Was having the visions, want to save death, pan away from death, and this guy actually did it. So it shows you how you could actually save someone from death with the power of the dark side and the power of the Jedi. Obviously, no Jedi anymore, but it did show that concept, and and the fact that there is a way to do it. So there always was a way to do it. However, it's not canon. So that's I thought that was a very interesting concept for number 9 that went in that direction. That's how it ended. But yeah, overall wasn't bad. Little tidbits, high points. Please, if you don't watch anything, just watch the first episode. It's just like in that entire thing, almost you could pinpoint any moment in that. You could print it, frame it, and it looks gorgeous on your wall. 100%. Like the art style is fantastic. But yeah, I rate it. I would like to see a sequel series. There's a couple there. Episode 1, episode 6 with the droids, episode 3 with the twins, and episode 8 with the family. Episode 8 was, that was good. That was the one with mostly family with the Dragon Ball Z scouter. Those episodes I'd love to see a sequel on and see where the story goes, because the majority of it, they do leave it open-handed, so you can do more interpretation for more. So I would like to see more of that. I do hope they do a season 2. However, if they don't and they just leave it like this, that's perfectly fine. At least we got exposure to it. At least we got something different, something that's not in the Skywalker canon storyline. So you got something different. But yeah, if they do make a sequel series, there's nothing announced of a sequel series yet, or season 2, sorry. I'm just saying sequel because it's like sequel trilogy. But yeah, so overall, please go check it out. It was actually not too bad. Mark really liked it. He did. He's all up for that Japanese artwork and everything, and he was one of the people that watch this. This looks fantastic. And I was like, I'm already going to watch it. You don't have to convince me. But yeah, overall, it wasn't too bad. So, but yeah, as well as what I was meaning by Mandalorian is the fact, Mandalorian is a really good show. The fact that, besides the ending of season 2, there's no more of the Skywalker family. We've got 9 and a bit movies, if you will, about the Skywalkers, and it's, we get it, but it's been done. There's more Jedi out there. There's more Sith than besides this entire family that has the one goal to F up the entire universe, generation by generation. But besides Mandalorian, you got a story like that, outside of that technically, and you get to see all these different characters, these different worlds, and everyone lost their shit when Luke appeared. I was like, holy crap. And the good thing about the Mandalorian with Luke appearing is that you got to see Luke Skywalker live action with these, taking no prisoners, going full force against those robots. all those Storm Terminator, Trooper Terminator. They were Terminators, 100%. Besides that and little tidbits, it's something different, in the fact that, these characters are not getting referenced by name, but I do appreciate they're getting referenced by like legend. I heard of a Jedi, the Emperor, Darth, they're getting mentioned in an not family member, they're getting mentioned in legend more so, which is why a lot of people like The Mandalorian, because it's not the Skywalker family, and it's in a period of time where there's one of the massive gaps, obviously between episode 3 and episode 4, there's a massive gap, so it's really cool to watch. But yes, that's why I think a lot of people were drawn to Star Wars Visions, because of that. And you see the different aspects, more people getting lightsabers, more Sith, that's what you want. And I want more duels. I want more lightsaber duels. Yeah. But yeah, so that was my review for that. Top notch. Hope they do make a season 2. If not, it's okay. It's about 3 episodes I want a sequel to, but that's about it. But yeah, guys, that was my 2 reviews for this episode, and a little bit of news. So next week, what I'll have for you guys is I'm about to watch the end of Invincible. Yes, I know, I'm late to the party on that, but I am going to watch it and finish it. I'm going to finish that, so I'll have my review for that for next week, as well as I've started watching The Boys. That's taking a little bit longer because they're an hour episode, but like the first episode of The Boys, if you haven't watched it, please go watch it. Mark and Dan have been telling me, watch this, like, I don't know what's taking you so long, so I was like, alright, I'll watch it. But the first 10 minutes of The Boys, holy shit, all I will say is bugs in a windshield, and yeah, I hope you understand what I mean. But yeah, that's where I got a review for next week, and obviously What If Episode 8. But yeah, please go check out Mark's page, Mark My Words, so going to promote that, and so you guys can have a link to it. Also, going to obviously talk about obviously more latest news, as always. And yeah, please go check out my latest episode of, as I mentioned, for those about to save the world. But look, guys, thank you for joining me today. Please let me know if you have any questions or any tidbits, any of your thoughts on the What If and what about Star Wars Visions. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining. And until next time,
thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.